Lightmatter Technologies would like to welcome bankers, investors, and all of those who have doubted him to this launch event. To those of you on the public tour, hello. Now entering the stage, Virgil. He needs no introduction. He is the beating heart of this mountain, the greater of two minds, and the man who sacrificed his leg for White Robe.
Unbelievable. There's more of you. Were you a part of the public tour? If so, I have just evacuated your tour guide. Don't panic. Now, your inability to follow evacuation orders is truly astounding, but I need you to pay attention. First off, walk through that door. Excellent. You have already exceeded my expectations. Wait, it's dark in there. You might trip. Let me light your path. The door requires 2 people to reopen. Proceed to my security manager's office. Now, I presume you know how buttons work. Impressive. If you continue like this, I might just hire you to mop the floor. Now scurry along, and you will reach the elevator to the exit. It's simple. I know it's difficult not to stare at the scientific wonder that is Lightmatter, but the launch event is over. Don't worry, my facility is sturdy. Get to the elevator. Excellent. The elevator will take you directly to our outpost. When you get there, journalists will immediately try to put words in your mouth. But stand strong and tell them that Virgil, the CEO of Lightmatter Technologies, saved your life and that the side effects are under control. Goodbye. Can you hear me? It's even on. Shadows are dangerous. Stay away from the shadow. Let me fix this. Excellent. It's working. So, simple is no longer an option, neither for you nor for me. This was a monumental failure on behalf of my elevator technicians. But don't worry, You will reach the exit of this facility, and they will reach the end of their employment. An escape plan is in development. Until then, keep in mind that the shadows can kill you. Think the floor is lava, just with shadows that absorb organic material. Here's the plan. The elevator dropped you to the center of the mountain, and the only functioning exit is at the top. Follow the green exit signs, and you'll get there. Just do exactly as I say, and you will be fine. If you want to complain about that, well, I can't hear you. Just realize how fortunate you are. You've extended your tour through Lightmatter technologies. It's unfortunate that the board voted against installing microphones throughout the facility. Their main concern being ethical ramifications. Good thing we still have cameras. Ah, excellent. Do you see that lamp down there? Pick it up. Handy, isn't it? Focus groups called it heavy and clunky. I called them weak and stupid. In the hands of a capable miner, that lamp turns into one of their finest tools. Listen, I know that the shadows might look intimidating to you. A deep black obsidian-like tar that will devour you whole. But they're just simple gravity-bound anomalies. A temporary side effect of Lightmatter. You see, all of mankind's greatest breakthroughs had their kinks, and these kinks are manageable. If they weren't, I wouldn't be here in the facility fixing them. You know that I was the first to wander through these caves? Although I came here with my former partner, Arthur, I was the one who discovered the Photon crystals. You might have heard that the side effects of those same crystals cost me my leg. Wrong. I conquered a mountain for the first Photon crystal. Sheer persistence and willpower cost me my leg. A small price to pay for Lightmatter. Ah, there it is. Now, since you missed your tour, that giant beam of light you see is Lightmatter. The source of that beam we call the core, a collection of massive photon crystals. It is so powerful that it shakes the very foundation of this facility. I still remember my first successful prototype. The beam seemed so solid, it looked like light had become matter. I built on that, and now look at it. A sustainable and renewable energy source that will save humanity. Yes, the launch today failed, but these shadows will not deter me from bringing Lightmatter into fruition. Now that I think about it, where were you during the launch event? All guests were taken directly to the tram, so you must have snuck away somehow. What exactly were you doing? Wait, are you a health and safety inspector? The irony that you didn't notice the blaring sounds and flashing lights. That's a problem with safety procedures. They could never be idiot-proof. Inspector, I regret that during the launch event, bankers, investors, and government officials died. But there are things one cannot predict. Shadows devouring people being one of them. So, Health and Safety Inspector, let me do your job for you. You see that giant piece of metal moving back and forth? It's a top-grade mineral decontaminator. I installed it as soon as I heard that my employees were losing their hair. Once installed, cellular degradation fell by 37%. For your information, saving humanity puts a lot of stress on my workers, as do my 12-hour workdays. Point is, there are many reasons for hair loss. Excellent. Our time together is almost at an end. There's a bridge right around the corner. Cross it, and you will be on a direct path to Sunshine. And my security manager, James. Oh yes, he was evacuated as well. I wouldn't dare risk his health and safety. Be careful with my lamps. At Lightmatter Technologies, we treat our inanimate objects with respect, not like those monsters of Aspyr science. If you're wondering why I built a lab inside a mountain, resilience. It was here before me, and it will be here after me. Just look around you, Inspector. We had an unprecedented event, and this living, breathing monument to science still stands. Before meeting James, don't be too intimidated by his physique. He is the human equivalent of this mountain. Well-built, dependable, and resilient. You know, James is a useful man. During the evacuation, he was tossing people over shadows to safety. Yes, risks were involved, but he saved people. We share the same philosophy in that regard. Try using the right side of your brain, if you have one. Collapsed. That's why I don't trust you, inspectors. I built it up to code, to what was legally required of me, yet what good did it do? Let me figure out your options. I really don't have time for this. The new door will be open soon enough. A moment, Inspector. Yes, James, this is Virgil. I need... James, calm down, James. Just punch something. We will find your cat later. Now focus. I need details for a new evacuation route. The inspector didn't make it across the bridge. It collapsed. Must have pushed the button too hard. Yes. Uh-huh, I thought so. Plan out the rest of the route and do it faster than last time. Goodbye, James. Inspector, the door is open. Run along now. All right, Inspector. Your failure to push a button has resulted in a change of plans. You will be taking a detour to another elevator. Now, show some gratitude for the amount of effort I put into keeping you alive. Keep an eye out for James's cat, Lux. James wants to know that he's safe. You see, James can't function properly when he's sad. Listen, I have a limited amount of patience, and this detour is exhausting it. Lightmatter demands my attention. So, you'll be on your own for a little while. Just know that I admire your persistence. With everything you've been through, I would hate my life if I were you. Now, you'll survive as long as you stick to the green exit signs. Good luck.
My name is Ellen, and things here are... Okay. First off, I am really proud to be an engineer at Lightmatter Technologies. But I don't know what the truth is anymore. People are getting sick left and right. Tape recorders have been banned, and now, until launch, all outside communication is prohibited. Not only that, leave permits are invalid. Virgil and Arthur, the pioneers of science. I can't believe they're doing this. They've been fighting each other for weeks, so I knew something was wrong. But I never thought they would lock down the facility like this. I guess whoever is listening to these tapes, if you're in the facility, please keep them hidden. Just until we can get them away from here. To someone who can help spread the truth. When I find it. exactly is pouring liquids into my... Ellen here. I don't know what to do. I was sleeping in the lab when suddenly I felt something on my head. I opened my eyes and Arthur is standing over me, in the dark, holding a vial. Before I could do or say anything, he just said, "It's for the better." What? How exactly is pouring liquids into my hair for the better? I wish I'd said that. But there he was. Arthur, the CTO of Lightmatter Technologies. The man I spent years working with. The man I am helping to save the world. I could barely recognize him. more drastic measures. I can't stop Arthur. I can't stop Arthur. Nobody believes a man of that status would poison people like that. And apparently, losing my hair at the age of 31 isn't proof enough. I need to take more drastic measures.
How did you get all the way over there? Well, impressive. You realized how much of a waste of time you are, and took a shortcut. You're much closer to the elevator, so well done, Inspector. Now, you're not supposed to be in that part of the facility, but never mind. You will be taking what you see here to your grave. Don't worry, it's just a standard non-disclosure agreement. You must have gone through the ventilation chambers. Wait, did you wear a breathing mask? Those chambers are littered with microcrystalline particles. Expected, since they are the lungs of Lightmatter technologies. But instead of focusing on the years of life you've just lost, let's focus on the happy fact that your shortcut saved us, it's a couple of hours. Fascinating. You can understand my technology, even though your brain is slowly decaying from crystalline particle poisoning. Inspector, I admire competence, and you've shown some. So let me tell you a bit about my technology. The panels that you've lit up to power machinery, those are the Photon power cells. You see, my former partner, Arthur, designed this part of the facility. And when he did, he used primitive copper for wiring. Once I increased the voltage, it melted. So I bypassed that idiocy by retrofitting doors, lifts, etc. with Photon power cells. Those power cells function as both energy converters and switches. Clever, but you'll realize their true purpose once light matter makes its way into the world. You know, when Arthur's wiring overloaded, I was fortunate enough to get stuck in an elevator with my engineers. But I make the most out of bad situations, so we had an hour-long conversation, much like this one. I talked and they listened. Inspector, include in your report that you've used this elevator extensively and you have found no problems with it. Look at you, managing those lamps. I know that being in charge can feel incredible, but this is sad. Inspector, let me enlighten you. To invent, you need a good imagination and a pile of junk. Conventional solar cells were a pile of junk until I got my hands on them. I improved upon them using photon crystals and created photoelectric cells that were actually efficient. Of course, when I succeeded, a cabal of my competitors, journalists, and windmill enthusiasts formed to try to undermine my achievements. Why did I expect any different? Competing with me is like an ant competing with a boot. Overwhelming. Allow me to clear away any doubts you might have about my photon power cells. For my initial test, I took an elevator to the top of the mountain on a sunny day. I had a coffee machine in each hand, one powered by a solar cell, the other powered by my photon cell. Within 1 minute, I was drinking delicious black photon cell-powered coffee. It tasted like victory. You seem intoxicated by opening and closing that door. Is this the first time you've held real power in your hands, Inspector? Impressive. You're the smartest inspector I've ever met. A low bar, sure, but a bar nonetheless. Oh, hold on. What an interesting phone call. My security manager, James, just got a hold of our government contacts. They told him that we were not scheduled for an inspection today. And since you are not on the guest list, James doesn't know who you are. But I do. It's obvious. You're a journalist. It fits. Your kind always go to such extremes for your stories. I would like to remind you that freedom of the press does not extend to trespassing. We'll have a talk once you get out. A journalist. I've had my fair share of experience with your kind. Always trying to make me show a sign of weakness. So let this be a reminder. I have none. Since you're a journalist, you must be here to investigate the merits of Arthur's accusations. Yes, I read the papers. I like to keep myself misinformed. Do you know what makes his lies so convincing? The small amount of truth he uses. Yes, Lightmatter caused hair loss and other minor side effects. But I solved all of that with the mineral decontaminators. And what did Arthur do? He poisoned our employees, exaggerating those side effects in his crusade to destroy me. Jealousy can be so ugly. It can be so all-consuming. It consumed our partnership, it consumed our friendship, and it almost destroyed this entire facility. Are you aware that astronauts are on the verge of going extinct? Yes, and soon homeless people too. You see, some scientists are completely unhinged when it comes to testing on human beings. I don't like to point fingers, but if you should investigate anybody, it should be Cave Johnson. While I try to push science forward, he tries to push science in front of a speeding train. The man should go back to selling shower curtains. of that spinning reminds me of Arthur's stories. Pointless and confusing. So, journalist, you will soon be out of here. But before you write a hit piece about the quote-unquote deadly shadows of Lightmatter, let's get the facts straight. The shadow anomalies are not spreading beyond the facility. They are local to the core. Also, we have had countless test runs on the core before today, and there have never been any signs of shadow anomalies. There is a simple explanation for that. You see, my engineers desperately strive to impress me. So during the launch event, one of them turned up the core's energy output. Understand, for every 100 megawatts I spend powering the core, I normally receive 107 megawatts. And today, that number increased to 111 megawatts. But I take full responsibility for my engineer's wrongdoing. I'm finding a solution, and he's finding a new career. Actually, he's probably dead. When you write about these shadows, be mindful of the words you choose. What changes nuclear power from a weapon to an energy source? Words. Think about that, journalist. There we are. The entrance to research and development. I know that you're eager to explore more of Lightmatter technologies, but you overstayed your welcome long ago. If it's any consolation, I'll let you write an exclusive about me. How does that sound? Just remember that non-disclosure agreement we discussed. Also, you are trespassing, and I have a legion of lawyers.